Hey guys, what's up? Real quick before this episode gets started, a few months ago I did an initial review of a film called The Insanity of God. This is not a Christian workout routine, actually it is a documentary film. I thought it did a pretty good job showing what it really means to be persecuted for something that you believe, juxtaposed with having just seen the film God's Not Dead 2. Well, you can imagine how enjoyable this film really was. And I said at the time that I had no idea how you could go see it, and several of you said, well, that's not good enough. I want to know how I can go see this movie because you said that it was pretty good. Well, it turns out now you can. They're releasing it in select cinemas nationwide Tuesday, August 30th. You can go to their website, I think it's insanityofgodmovie.com, and you can check it out there. And just a heads up, they're not sponsoring this or anything. I just enjoyed the movie and I love hearing what you guys think of these movies. Figured I'd tell you about it because that's what I'm here for. Let's get into the episode. God's Not Dead 2, more like God's Not Dead Sued. Now, a bunch of you guys sent me this article, and some of you said, aren't you happy that God's Not Dead is finally getting sued? To be honest with you guys, no, I'm not happy about that. There are plenty of things that I already know about God's Not Dead that are in the movie that I can call them out on and say, look, this is bad, this is wrong, that I don't need to make up lies and try to make them look bad. If they did something wrong, then they did something wrong, but currently, we don't know yet. My goal is not to take down God's Not Dead because I dislike God's Not Dead. My goal is to call out truth, and I have my speculations about this situation in and of itself, and I wanted to share them right here. That's right, a lady by the name of Kelly Kohlberg claims that she actually wrote the script for God's Not Dead, or a similar one like it called Rise, and PureFlix stole that idea and ran with it, and now she has a case to sue them for $100 million. Now, what I find funny about this is that this isn't news. People file lawsuits all the time. That doesn't mean anything. Anybody could file a lawsuit against anybody. Now, the risk there, of course, is that if you file a lawsuit against someone and then it goes to court and then you lose, they can have a countersuit against you and take money from you in order to pay for all their legal fees for taking them to court unjustifiably, and that's kind of how that system prevents from frivolous lawsuits that everybody's always talking about. But in any case, more specifically this case, she is suing for $100 million? That is a lot of money. I don't think that the writer of God's Not Dead or God's Not Dead 2 got paid the entirety of the profits of the movie itself. That's not how it works, okay? So if maybe she was able to prove that she pitched her script to somebody at PureFlix and she gave them a price as to how much she would be willing to sell that script to them for, and they said, nah, we're not interested, but then went ahead and made the movie and didn't pay her, that I think she would have the ability to sue for the amount of money she was willing to sell that script for. But since she didn't, there's a lot of money and a lot of effort, and just because you had an idea and somebody else also had that idea and made that movie, I guess I gotta think about Mark Zuckerberg, not the real one, said this.
If you guys were the inventors of Facebook, you'd have invented Facebook.
If you are the maker of God's Not Dead, you would have made God's Not Dead. Now, Ms. Kohlberg is claiming that she did give kind of a short pitch to somebody at like a mixer or something, and that person must have pitched that to somebody at PureFlix, and then somebody at PureFlix took that idea and went with it. Now, this is all speculation on her part. I have a hard time believing this because, as I said in my review of God's Not Dead, this story about a kid at a school going up against his atheist professor has been around as long as email has been around. This is a really old fake story. In all honesty, I just don't think that she's gonna win the case. I don't think this is even news. When something is grassroots and it becomes successful, there's always people who come out of the woodwork and try to sue it, then it ends up getting thrown out. I'm not a lawyer, I'm just a YouTuber. If she does end up winning this case, that would be news, and I would be very interested to find out about that. However, if that happens, it's not going to make me happy. I'm not happy whenever bad things happen to people, but if they truly did do something wrong, I hope that justice is served. And if you can believe it, I don't think even the makers of God's Not Dead should get sued if they didn't do anything wrong. Now you have my thoughts. I'd love to hear your thoughts about it. Let me know in the comments below, and I will talk to you guys next time. By the way, if you like this episode, you might want to check out some of my other episodes. If you like what I do here, then you can check out my Patreon, patreon.com/SayGoodnightKev. Two people who support me on there are Brendan Neely and Westminster Effects. Westminster Effects is a guitar pedal company, custom guitar pedals. Check those out, and you might be surprised at what you hear. All right, I'll talk to you guys later.